Hello, good day. My name is Chris Njoku. Today I'll be resolving a couple of Excel questions as seen on my screen. These are exam scores of students that took certain courses in that exam. There are about 10 of them. These students took Hindi, English, Maths, Physics, and Chemistry in that exam. So we are going to resolve question 1 to 6 without wasting much of our time. Let's start with question 1. It says, find the total number and average in all subjects in each student. So we'll drop our cursor here and we'll say equals. To get the total number, we're going to use the sum function. We say sum. Then we select the data range for all the subjects from Hindi to chemistry. That is C2 to G2. Close our bracket, we hit our enter key. So we can autofill by holding down and then drag till we get to the last row. That is for total. Now we're going to get the average for all students. We say equals average. Then we select the data range from Hindi to chemistry. Close the brackets. We hit our enter key. Then we hold down and autofill. Drag down. That is for average. So we have been able to solve question 1. We move over to question 2. Question 2 is saying find grade using if function. If average is greater than 15, then A grade. And otherwise, we should have B grade. This is question 2. So in order for us to do that, we say equals if. Now we're going to look at the logical test, the value if that test is true, and then the value if that test is false. Now, how do we go about that? We start with the very first average score, which is on I2. So we say if I2 is greater than 15, what do? We say A grade. So remember to bring in your double quotation mark or your parenthesis. We'll say A, otherwise B, close your bracket. Don't forget to put these conditions, these criteria on the right position. Look at how we started. We say if, then the first thing is the logical test. What is the logical test here? If the average is greater than 15, then we'll move to the next. The next is talking about if that first logical test have been met, then A should be your response, which is A grade. Otherwise, let the grade be B. So we hit our enter key. You can see we have A grade here because the average is actually 15.4, which is greater than 15. So we can hold down and autofill. We'll drag down till we get to the last row. So we've been able to do that. So if you look at this very well, you can see 15.4A, 17.2A, 16.6B, because that average is actually less than 15. So we give it the otherwise condition, which is B. So we have been able to resolve question 2. Now we move over to question 3. Question 3 is saying how many students have A and B grades. So here, I think our best bet should be for us to use the Countif function. Give it a condition. If we are looking at A, this is what should be met. If we're looking at B, this is how it should be. So we must ensure that we bring out the conditions very clear. Now let's move straight into the business. Say equals count if range. The range is talking about the data range. Where are we getting the grades from? We're getting it from this grade column J. So we select the data range. So next thing now is the criteria. What is the criteria? We're looking at A grade. We want to count how many students have the A grade. So we say open parenthesis A, and we'll close it. Then we hit enter key to showing us that A grade is 6. Let me give it a name, A grade. Now we go to the next. We say equals count if the data range, which is here, so range, go and select the data range, next is this criteria. What's our criteria? We're looking for B grade. Say open parenthesis, we close before a B. This is it. We hit our enter key, showing us that 4 students have the B grade. So that is for question 3. We move further to question 4 that says student Ashok and Manoj total number and Now, the question is asking that you should get the total for Ashok and the average for Ashok. Do same thing for Manoj. You have to read the question very well and then you know what you are expected to do. It says student Ashok and Manoj, total number and average. So here now, two students, Ashok and Manoj. And then you are also looking for two items, their total number and their average. So you have to ensure that all are taken care of. Now, ordinarily, you can count and then you know the total of Ashok. You can also look at the total of column and then you see the total for Manoj. You can also do the same thing for the average. However, you might be working with a very huge data series. You will make mistakes if you decide to look at the data and then get the result. The best is for you to learn how to use functions to do that. Here, we are going to use the sum if function. We're going to use the sum if function. If you want to use the sum if function, ensure that you type out the student names as it is written on the data series itself. Look at what I've done here. This is Ashok. I copied Ashok from here, from B2, so that I will not make mistake with the way it was written. If it's capital here all through, bring it down here as capital. I did same thing for Manoj. You can see Manoj, all capital letter. I also brought it out here. Now you're going to find out why I actually did that. So to get the total for Ashok, I drop my cursor here. I say equals sum if. I click on sum if. Now look at the criteria. First, it's talking about the range. Where are you going to see the range of Ashok data? Ashok is in the student column. So that is where you are going to get your data from. So you go and select the entire student column. Next is talking about criteria. Criteria now is that on the student column, what are you actually looking for? Who do you want to identify with? Here, we are trying to identify with Ashok. So I can just tap on Ashok here. It will show J19 because I have written it out the way it's written on the data series. So there's no problem with that. In some cases, some people might just click on Ashok directly from the data series here. But because I've written it here and the spelling is the same, it will work perfectly. Now, we're done with that criteria. The next thing now is the sum range. The actual data you are looking for, where is it located? It's in the total column because what you are looking for is the total of Ashok. So you go and select the entire column. Then you close the bracket. Now, I have taken care of three main items. The range, which is this. The range is where you find Ashok, which is the student range, the student column. The next is the criteria. Criteria is Ashok. This is it. And then the next is the actual thing you are looking for, which is the total. You hit your enter key. You can see it has given me 77. If you actually look at this is Ashok. Second on the list, you can see 77. So that is what it will give to you. Because I've written out Manoj the way it is on the data, if I drag down, it will also give me Manoj score. So look at it. I release it and then it's giving me 86. So let's check for Manoj. This is Manoj. Scroll. Manoj is actually 86. Some of these things are necessary to save time so that you can finish task on time. Next, we are going to be looking at is their average. So we drop our cursor here. We say equals sum if. First is criteria. If you will follow me this way, you are going to have a better understanding of this whole assignment. You can see that anything that is to be taken care of is written bold. You can see range is bold. By the time I'm done taking care of range, you see that criteria will now be bold. After criteria, sum underscore range will be bold. Now let's move. The first thing here is talking about the range. Where are you going to get the ASHOK from? ASHOK is from the student range. So you go and select that. So, comma, what are you looking for? The criteria is ASHOK, comma, the last now is the sum underscore range. The actual thing you are looking for here is the average. So you go and select the entire average column, and then you close your bracket, you hit enter. Now it's telling us that ASHOK average is 15.4. Look at ASHOK, the average is 15.4. You can do same thing for Manoj by holding down and then you drag. It's telling us that Manoj is 17.2. Let's look at Manoj. This is Manoj. Manoj is 17.2. I can decide to add another student here. It will appear the same way. Let me show you this. Let me use Pooja as an example. I copy Pooja and I drop Pooja here. Paste. Now let me say this. Let me hold down and drag. You can see that Pooja is showing me 76 as total. Where is Pooja? Let's scroll and move. It's showing 76 for Pooja. I can do the same thing now for average. Start from here. You hold down and autofill down. You can see it's showing me that Pooja average is 15.2. Let's check Pooja. 15.2. These are some of the skills you need to have to improve your expertise in Excel. It also helps you to multitask and finish jobs in record time, because you might be given jobs that has so much volume of work to do. Now we move forward to question 5. Question 5 is talking about count how many students. That is quite easy. We can just use the count A function to count how many students. Say equals count A. What's the data range? The data range is students. That's where you get the value. So just down and then we close, we hit enter, it gives us 10. Now notice something. Count A is different from count. What I have just done now, if I try it with count, it will not give me same result. Why? Count A counts the cells in that range. Why count only count the figures, the numbers in the cells? Equals, let's try count now. You can see count. Look at count. You say count the numbers of cells in a range that contains numbers. If we do so for this student column, we're going to get 0 because there are no numbers here. But if we do same thing for this or this, there are numbers here. It could give us the same result. So just know when to use the exact function for whatever you're doing. So let's just try to do count and then select this data range. See what will happen. It's showing us 0 because there are no numbers on that list. But however, let's try to do same count A or count. Let's do count for another column that contains numbers. Let's do it for this Hindi column. Close. You can see it's showing us 10. So note the difference between count A function and count function. Count A counts the cells that are not empty. However, count alone counts the cells that have numbers on it. So just understand the difference between the two. So we move forward to the last questions. Question 6 is saying, how many students, Hindi and English subject number, are greater than 20 and less than 15? Please always note the signs, the figures that are used to represent greater than and less than. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. The greater than is facing your right side, while the less than is facing your left side. So that's just a way to note that. So let's move forward. For Hindi, we are looking out for the students that have greater than 20. So we're going to use the count if function for that. Say equals count if. So we need to know the range. The range, then we now look at the criteria. So what are we looking at for? The range is the Hindi column. So that is the range. Comma, what are we looking at for? Greater than 20. So greater than 20. Close the bracket, and then we hit our enter key. It's showing us 4. We can do similar thing just to finish up for Hindi. We do count if again. In this case, we're looking at for those that scored less than 15. So the range is the Hindi column, data range, and then comma, the criteria is less than 15. Please note that you must type your syntax very neat. Ensure you don't miss out on it. If you miss out on the close bracket, you will not have your result. If you miss out on the first quotation mark or parenthesis, and then you type the second one, only one located there, it will give you error. So ensure that your syntax is properly written. It's very, very, very important. You open a bracket, you must close it. You open parenthesis, you must close it. So that's just the logic. Now you hit your enter key, it's showing you 1. We now move over to English. You can say equals count if. Want to look at those that got greater than 20 in the English column. So the data range is the English column. Okay. I always structure my work like this so that you understand what I'm doing. See how I wrote out Hindi and English so that I'll know what I'm working on per time. Now, what are we looking at for? We're looking at for greater than 20. Enter key showing us 0. Now we go and do for less than 15. Say equals count if. We go and select the data range for English. we're looking at for less than 15. Okay. So we have 6. Now we can just take time to check if what we did is correct. For Hindi, we're looking at for scores that are greater than 20. So here we have it as 4. So let's go and count and see if we're actually correct. For Hindi, let's say this is 20, is not greater than 20, so we cannot count it as part of it. If the question has said greater than or equals to 20, that's when we'll bring in this very one, which is Ram. So we're going to count this: Ashok 1, Manoj 2, Anil 3, Prem 4. That is why we have it as 4. Now we're going to count those that are less than 15. We have it as 1 here. Let's go and check if it's actually correct. Less than 15. You can see we have 15 here. It's not less than 15. So this is not to be counted. We have Ranjan 14. That is the only score that is less than 15. That is why we have it as 1 here. So we are very correct. For English, no score is greater than 20. Let's go and check how truthful it is. So this is the English. So you can see coming down to we have Ashuto. This is actually 20. It is not greater than 20. So you can see that we are very, very correct. If it has said greater than or equals to 20, that's when we count this. So that result 0 is very correct. Now, to look out for those that are less than 15, we have it as 6 here. Let's go and count and see if it's actually correct. So, less than 15, this is 1. Ram Ashok 2. Less than 15, we have Rajesh 3. We have Pojo 4. We have Anil 5. We have Prem 6. So we are actually correct to have 6 as the answer. So that is just all for now. Ensure that you make out time to look through this again. You have a better understanding. Thank you for making out time to see this video. Bye.